live in the dungeon. This is the Dream Warrior Review. I'm Kurt Thomas.
I'm Miq Strawn.
All right. Let me see. A faded television actor and his stunt double strive to achieve fame and success in the film industry during the final years of Hollywood's golden age in 1969 Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
I was trying to read that like, what's that guy? The Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. A faded actor. I need to do more ups and downs, right?
Yeah, and more ups and downs. And see, that guy's whole voice was channeling like a 1930s radio broadcast.
Yeah. A faded television actor and his... I can't do it.
Yes,
I tried.
You're right about that.
Can I just say I always get annoyed with Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he might be a dick in real life, but I don't have any reason to think that. I want to not like him, but he's a fucking awesome actor.
He's an amazing actor.
And then Brad Pitt is like amazing. And Brad Pitt kind of stole the show, I think, on this one.
Yeah, I think he really did. But you know what? He was in that perfect role where you could be the second banana and you could relax and just slide it on in.
There's one amazing scene. I can't talk about it, but it was unbelievable. That's actually what made the movie for me. I was like, oh my God, finally, this is amazing. I was like, now it makes sense.
This film.
So there's a lot of questions.
I'm still formulating in my head.
And how do we talk about it without it?
How do we talk about it?
Yeah.
How do I talk about it without blowing it? But let me set the tone for it. The tone for
please.
it is right through the early 60s. It's probably about 62 to 66, I think. Or no, it's
69
to 69. It goes maybe about 62 to 69 up through that whole period, and it is fantastic. And and the thing that it does, one of the things that it's doing visually, it's just throwing icons of the period.
It's throwing the 60s at your face.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the way that the neon came in and was showing you all the bars. Yeah. All the classic El Coyote and all the different bars and stuff. And here's the thing. A lot of those, those places were icons, like the Formosa, El Coyote, all those restaurants.
What was the other one? The Vantage or something?
Well, yeah, but another one that they couldn't do because it had been torn down was the Brown Derby. Because Brown Derby was around when I was down there. And it had the classic signage and stuff.
Is that the one that had the pictures all up in it? Like,
well, you see,
I've seen in movies. Like,
yeah, but Musso's and Frank's has there are so many cafes that have, so many restaurants have, walls of pictures. It's like El Coyote is actually different because it doesn't. There are pawn shops down there that have, picture collections like you wouldn't.
Of course.
Laundry. The thing is like you could go into a laundry and I can guarantee you any laundry in the Valley or down in LA will have, or had at the time, in the 80s, had like at least 30 or 40 pictures of, customers that came in and dropped off there, and
that's how they get their discount.
Very famous. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Here I'm carrying my face.
Give me an autograph, and I'll give you a discount.
I'm carrying my face.
Yeah.
In with me, which
it's like a coupon.
Yeah, it is like a coupon. It's really funny. We used to sit around and go through the stacks of them, like literally. I mean, if you were on a show. If you were on a TV show in particular, the drift, the trash that would be around would be those photos.
Yeah.
And I mean, expensive ones, the photos, and then you'd there'd be an attached sheet to it, and we used to like you could go around at any given time and like Freddy's Nightmares, for instance, or Tales from the Dark Side.
Right.
You would just you could collect 50 of them, in a heartbeat. Literally, it would take you 10 seconds, and you could just scoop. They were everywhere. They were in every corner. they are the litter of Hollywood. It is the one she photos. And what was great, and I remember to this day that there's always this section about special talents. Mm-hmm. And what you wanted to do is you wanted to go as soon as possible to special talents. Some of them were great. Some of them were just like I remember there was this blonde one time that her special talent was parallel parking 3 out of 5.
Oh my God. 3 out of 5. Wow.
There you go.
That's amazing.
It's like sometimes some of the different ones I've seen, like crossing my eyes. I could cross my eyes. That was under special. Just weird stuff. They were hilarious to read through. Just so much fun.
Wow. So was I supposed to not like one of the characters? Because I don't know. Well, I guess I could say this without ruining anything. Yeah. I felt like the girl, Sharon Tate, was a little bit bubbly and too, everything was going so perfectly. And I thought the movie that she was in, the one with Dean Martin, I don't think I've ever seen it, but it looked horrible. Was it bad?
It was. Oh yeah.
It looked really bad.
She did several really bad films, but
But I love the fact that there was all this crossover. Like Bruce Lee was there.
Yeah, Bruce Lee was there.
For the Green Hornet.
Yeah, that's
playing.
That's
that
right.
Was interesting.
There were so many. The thing is there are so many iconic things that happened between 62 and 69 that you could grab out of LA, but I have to say that some of the there was a lot of cowboy shots.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And a lot of the cowboy stage stuff was very narrowly parametered. Mm-hmm. Because there isn't much of that left, and it's kind of hard to find a place to really duplicate it. And I also noticed that...
I wish they would have dirtied up it looked too clean for even if I was watching it back in the 60s. Yeah. It looked too clean.
It was too clean. And what was really funny is when DiCaprio kept throwing trash out. Yeah. It would be just like that one piece of trash and go, that is not a set. Right. One piece of trash does not... movie set make. but also I noticed
I love the movie posters. Sorry, I didn't mean
no, you're right.
The movie posters were really well done.
The TV posters.
Yeah. The set design in general was pretty well done.
Oh yeah, it was really well done.
This is what Quentin Tarantino's vision is totally right on. Usually with period pieces.
Oh yeah. No
music, cars.
Well, what I thought was great was the soundtrack and the radio.
Yes.
The radio and the combination of the radios and the commercials.
Do you know what it reminded me of? That movie with Ron Howard had Wolfman Jack in it, and it was a Lucas movie.
American Graffiti.
It was like that, where the music kind of... They used the cars as the radio, but it transitioned to the houses and to the cafes and the...
That's right, but the thing is visually that was so much more open than this was.
Yes.
This was visually very, very tight. It's like... in fact, I think that I noticed this. I think that there was not very much optical, not much CGI, because they didn't have huge groups of CGI at the end. You could tell that they kind of kept it tight enough to... One thing I definitely noticed is, there are a lot of leftover cranes that nobody uses anymore.
Right. So they're probably cheap to rent.
Yeah, probably. Well, if you're on the studio lot, you probably have a lot of them. A lot of the old cranes, the old really big ones that carry up the cameraman and the director at the same time, they were everywhere. It was funny. There was that one.
I've always wanted one of those.
There was one shot at the beginning where we went past. We went past 3 of those cranes, which would never happen. I mean, in my day when they used them,
they're probably hard to find.
They were hard. They were working. I mean, that was a constantly working piece of equipment.
I do remember seeing some behind the scenes stuff from the 60s, and I had the crane going up with the guy with the camera, and the guy behind him.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It was
the DP, the DP and the director.
Yeah.
It was the DP and the director that. And the thing is it like the way that we did crane shots is that you had a day that was your crane shot day, and what you would do is you would do usually, and I mean really usually, the opening of an episode or a movie and the closing end of a movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in fact, if you think back to Forrest Gump, you know,
with the feather,
with the feather and following it with a crane and out. And the feather comes out and it pulls out with a crane.
Or any Twilight Zone episode.
Right. Well, but that's the thing is you had this one day that had 2 shots, and that was how difficult it was to set those up.
Wow.
And they needed a lot of space. You know, they
look really nice though. I mean, I wish more people would use crane shots.
No. Well, the crane shots.
Because now it's drones.
Well, but here's the problem with the drone, and here's the thing. Though they use cranes with that have remote heads, because you can sit back here. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have a cameraman and a director down there, which is what it used to be. The crane used to carry a cameraman and a director, and in order to get it up and balance, you had to put that much weight back on the other side of it. And the whole process of doing that, you know, and getting people out of cranes without launching them into the air. And, you know, I mean, if you were on a crane and you had to take a piss, you were 20 minutes away from a piss for sure.
Wow. That's amazing.
Because, you know, the thing is even if you jumped off of I mean, people have been injured and killed, I'm sure, when people jumped off just before they were supposed to. Because you jump off and then that crane just shoots up into the air and it slingshots the other person, you know?
Wow.
And that is something that did happen, you know, from time to time. Cranes are amazing. You know, I've told a story before about working on Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Right.
Remember, we completely did the whole dance sequence, right? And the front of the house, the front of the Miracles building that we had, you know, we graffitied. Zodiac had graffitied it. The guy whose, you know, brain has got to be encased in just layer after layer, layers of paint. But we did the building. And the day before we were going to shoot is the first day that the DP comes out, which is always the same thing with a DP is they come out to something that you've been working on for 3 weeks, right? They come out and they notice one problem. That's a problem for them. And they go, I can't believe we're finding out about this now. And I'm not kidding. One time I was in a building. I was in the technical walkthrough the day before we started shooting on the stage one time. And I was telling my construction coordinator, I said, yeah, you know, it's this thing about the DP is like, he's going to walk around and he's going to see a problem and he's going to say, oh, I can't believe we're finding out about this now. And I'm not kidding. 10 minutes later, we're walking across the building and there's a buzz out of like this transformer in the corner. The DP walks up and he goes, I can't believe we're finding out about this now. I'm not kidding. My construction coordinator started to laugh, and then everybody turns to him and makes him laugh more. He just completely lost it. So, but the story that I was telling, this is a story time with Miq inside of a story time.
I know
with Miq.
it's really weird.
Yeah, we're deep into this. So
you almost have to add more echo to the song.
Yeah,
and make it more demented sounding.
So
put some bends in it.
Some bends. Take a left turn. So we come. So the DP goes, he comes out to this building that we've done this, and right down the middle of the street is the palm trees, and the building was this big community center. It probably was a church at one time, and there was a approach of a palm tree in the middle of the street, one after the other, boom, 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 down the street. And so we built out all the stairway, and we did all these balloons, and we had all the painting and all, like, because we're going to dance to save the building, right?
Right.
Well, when the DP gets up there, he says, oh, yeah, I can't believe we're finding out about this now, because the back of the crane that's going to be used for the opening shot, there's no way. This is how big these cranes were. If you had a big crane, you needed so much room in the middle of the street that that the palm tree, it would hit the palm tree. So you either hit it with the front of the crane or the back of the crane, but you were going to hit it with the crane no matter what. And so I said, well, fine, we'll do our best. And I desperately got a hold of a guy that pulls palm trees. There's I
think you told me this.
Yeah, the one that transported it, and we literally at dusk that day we had earth and we had like paint and we had gravel standing by, just right at dusk. And if you're gonna do something illegal, immoral, unnatural, something that you're going to get in trouble for. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you there are two best times to do that. One is right at dawn.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
And the other is right at dusk. Because nobody can see clearly.
Right.
You don't have it. No matter how many iPhones there are in the world.
Well, it might be different now.
Well,
some jackass will be videotaping it.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, they wouldn't. Well, yeah. Anyway, the thing is, you do it at dusk, right? And so, right at dusk, I offered him like I think it's between $600 and $800, and he parks his truck around the corner. And just as dusk comes, he comes flying around the corner with with the back of it all the way up.
Was there a signal, or did he just know when to go?
He just knew when to go. We were waiting for him. We were waiting for him with all this stuff back down around the building, and he comes around. I give him the cash, and he comes back around the corner. He backs his truck up to it, and it's a dump truck, and it's already up, and he just flaps a chain around it and lowers it, and just picked that sucker up, and away he went. I mean, if it took him 5 minutes.
Those roots are pretty shallow, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they're just a little. The roots are a tuft that's almost exactly the same size as the ball on top, and they're really easy to pull out. So anyway, he went around the corner, and we came from the corner of the building. We filled it up with dirt and then put asphalt on top of it, and then scenic painted it so that it looked like the rest of the street. and so we were there in the morning when the whole crew was showing up, and we were there at like 5 o'clock in the morning, to make sure that everything was right for art department. We're up on top of the building, and the guy whose house was right across from that tree, right? He comes out to get his paper at about 6 in the morning, right? And we're all like, everybody's holding their breath. And he goes out and opens the gate, and he only looks halfway, opens the gate, and he bends down, and he picks up his paper. See, kids, a newspaper was...
Oh, yeah. People probably don't know what that is.
Yeah, bro. Anyway, it would wind up on your porch at about 4 in the morning, and there would be your news for the day. So, not brought to you by Apple. So, he goes out, and now he's, on the sidewalk of the street. He picks up the paper, he just turns around, and he starts to head back to the house. But just as he's going back down his driveway, or his sidewalk, he stops and he turns around, and everybody's holding their breath because he kind of looks, and you could see him looking like,
what's different?
What's different, right? Yeah. What's different here, right? But we did such a good job that he just kind of like, and he went back in his house. We were like, high fives all the way around, high fives, high fives, high fives, and so yeah, that's it. And this is what I've always said: is at least back then, a film crew was just one enormous illegal entity going down the road. So anyway.
Speaking of illegal activities, I'm trying to segue. Let me think.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, where are you going with that sucker? I don't think you're going to land that.
Well, speaking of illegal activities, Charles Manson.
That's right.
And his gang. And how Quentin Tarantino weaved this into just a story about, there was like 2 stories at once for a lot. And then somehow it makes sense to you later on.
Right.
But you have to watch the movie to find out why.
You have to watch.
Was that vague enough?
Yeah, that was vague enough, but
no, it was.
But at the same time,
because
I
was sitting there going, what is the connection? Why?
All of the Manson elements were there. Let's put it that way.
He did a great job of, I assume he wrote this. I don't know why I have to check. He always writes everything.
Right.
But no, he did an amazing job with the dialogue and everything. It's just.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the look of it and it the great thing about it is it so took me back, KHJ,
right.
The call sounds of KHJ coming across was like, oh my God, growing up with that, hearing it all the time.
Well, you said I was old because when the movie was starting, I was like, I remember a time when movies started when they said they were going to start. And if it starts at 8 o'clock, it starts at 8 o'clock. And you damn well only see 2 previews and maybe a cartoon. And then the movie started right on time. So you could show up right before it started and miss the previews, but you see the movie. But now it's like 30 minutes. You're waiting for 30 minutes.
Wow. Wow.
And you said you sound old, but then I was like, oh, now we're watching a movie about the 60s, and you're like,
hold on,
I remember that.
See, the difference is this, is you sound old.
Right. Yeah.
I'm old. I am old.
Right,
see?
Yeah. Well, I forget because you have such a youthful face.
I fool people all the time. I really do. You know what? The thing is this, it's the difference between being childish and childlike. And I'm more childish.
Right.
And less childlike.
That makes sense.
But, so did I mention that I got to see Vengeance today?
Oh, wait. I wanted to say one more thing about this one.
Okay, go back.
Well, I mean, really, it's minor, but it's my only. If I have to nitpick, it's something.
Yeah, you always do. Okay.
Playboy Mansion. Do you think the Playboy Mansion wouldn't have like skinnier people back in the '60s? Wouldn't they all be like Twiggy, like really skinny and see-through? I don't know. It's a weird point, but I thought about it when I was watching that scene. The way they showed Polanski was interesting, and then which is how I've seen him in pictures. So I guess it was really like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, the look of things. Oh yeah.
But I like the director that was directing the Western too. That was awesome. I mean, just it was a little bit different than everybody else was.
Right. Yeah. And those the TV turnaround and stuff like that. It was
the whole hippie
really
thing.
funny.
The whole hippie versus like the older guy from Hollywood with the hippies coming in.
Right.
There's a lot of different levels to this movie. A lot of different angles.
It's rocking from so many different angles.
So this was so much better than that stupid movie he did with the Nazis.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember the name.
Inglourious Bastards.
I really did not like that one.
I did not like Inglourious Bastards, but I loved this.
So he's redeemed himself.
And you know what? You're wrong about Margot Robbie. I loved Margot Robbie in this.
I love her. She's hot and she's cute.
Right.
I just got annoyed with the character she was playing. She was playing the character well, probably.
Yeah.
But I got annoyed with this, blonde, pretty girl that was getting everything she wanted and, bopping up and down. Like, oh, yeah, I'm having a great life.
Well,
you know what I'm saying.
There's blondes out there.
I got 2 boys.
There's blondes out there that are having a great life.
My female voice is amazing, isn't it?
It is.
Should we? I don't know. Is there anything else we can say about this? I mean,
we can't and ruin it.
I mean, I think it's one of the better Quentin Tarantino movies.
I think
he's actually done. He's improved himself a lot.
This film, I think,
it's his prettiest movie.
Should be right. It's definitely his prettiest movie. I think that this should be right under or right at Pulp Fiction. Yeah, absolutely. This is supposed to be his 9th and last, right? It's not gonna be, but there you go. Anyway,
you never know.
I absolutely have to give this a 4. I mean, it hit it out of the park in every possible way. Storytelling at its best.
See, I think I would give it a 4. See, the thing is, I like the rawness of Reservoir Dogs and
right, and
Dusk Until Dawn was pretty amazing.
Yeah, but then Hateful Eight was.
Yes. So he's redeemed himself with this.
He has.
But I would put this.
Indeed.
I think I agree with you. I would probably put it up there, the top 3 at least. But I'd give it a 4 until a certain point in the movie, and then it jumps up for me by far to like a 4.4.
Oh, did I say 4 when I meant 5?
Did you say 5? Yeah,
I said 4. I said 5. I meant 5.
Yeah. See,
no. This is the top.
You think it's a 5?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'd have to think about it.
Absolutely, this is one of the best films I've seen.
I'm way up there in a high 4 at least.
Yeah.
I was kind of. There was a moment where I was like,
I was knocked out and absolutely loved it, and I dreaded this film.
Everything was perfect though, because I was like,
it was
at the point where I was like, okay, explain why there's these things going on.
The thing is this is
over here,
tired,
and this is over here.
I am.
Why the heck? Why? Why? And then right when I was thinking that, no, it makes sense.
See, and the thing is I hate the Manson thing. I lived through that,
and you were dreading it.
And I hate the fact that all of society looks at that period of time and focuses so heavily. When they focus on Hollywood and Southern California, they focus on Manson family, and that's just bullshit. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
this would have been a decent story, but without it. But it's interesting.
But it's interesting how it's run.
Yeah.
You have to go see this film.
Yeah.
You certainly cannot say that
I'm not quite at a 5, but I'm right there, way up there.
There's no way that you can say that you were a fan of Brad Pitt or
Margot
Robbie, DiCaprio, or Tarantino, and not love this film, because it is such a knock out of the park.
And Steve McQueen was in there, and so was Bruce Lee, and so was who else was in there? So
yeah.
But I'm up there, but not as high. I'm not as high as you, man.
Not as high as I. Well,
I didn't have that cigarette.
That's right, the cigarette. That particular cigarette. Right. That's right. So is there anything else? I wanted to just mention that
we were bringing up Vengeance. We got off, I don't know what happened. We didn't talk about Vengeance, did we?
Yeah.
You saw Vengeance, and
I'm
envious because I want to know how awesome it was.
I have to tell you, this is what I have to say about Vengeance. I have been on so many films where a group of people who know the rules, who know how to do their jobs, who are utterly professionals.
You mean this wasn't it?
No. This was a fan film, and this was done for $30,000. I've been on films that had, millions of dollars behind it. Everybody was utterly professional. And it seemed like every time they rolled the camera, they got utter crap, and it all came together to make just a stifling piece of simmering sidewalk fruit. Now, that
was heavy.
The difference. Here's the Vengeance. Vengeance. Every time we rolled film, we caught magic in a bottle, and every time the camera stopped,
it was chaos.
It was absolute chaos. I mean, it would rain. We would lose the props. The cameras would go out. We would lose the camera. We would lose things in the dark and not have a flashlight. We didn't, for the sake of an extension cord, I'm going to go out of my mind. Oh no, the camera cables are going out again. It seemed like there was everything in the world, like we were the biggest bunch of idiots that you could possibly imagine. And then the camera would roll. And
right, yes.
Everything would be gold. It would be the most amazing stuff I had ever seen. And I have to tell you, honestly, I thought that when I was done that I had made that up in my brain, how good it was. But having seen it just today, I have to say, this is... I'm not going to say for a fan film it was great. For a movie. Film, for a movie.
In general, yes.
For a movie in general.
Yeah, gotcha.
This is going to knock your socks off.
Awesome.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So there's that. I was just going to let you know that there's that.
I can't wait to see it. I'm like really anxious. In fact, I wore my shirt to remind you to talk about it.
Yes, you did. And I did. And I think that ends us.
It does. Yeah. Which I'm sorry if I scared you with SpongeBob this morning. Like,
that was pretty scary. That was
SpongeBob vengeance.
Yes.
Maybe that'll be like my one post I put out there.
Really weird.
My one post I put out there this month will be my picture of SpongeBob vengeance. I'll have to figure out how Facebook works, but I'll get it out there.
Did you look on your phone to see what I texted you right then?
No.
Look on your phone. Look on your phone.
Pleasant surprise here. Squidward.
The word for today is Squidward.
Thanks for joining us on the Dream Warrior Review podcast. Don't forget to tell your friends about us, follow us, and, of course, like us. We can be found on Podbean, which is an amazing app, YouTube, Stitcher, Alexa on any pod, iTunes, Google Play. We're on Twitter as well, at DW Review, and, of course, Facebook. You can find us there. You can also email us at dreamwarriorreview@gmail.com.